This is Jacob Nash with JNGL, and what the heck is that? Excuse me for a second. My ceiling fan is about to fall down. Alright, I'm sorry about that. I had to use a golf club to stop it. Something's wrong with it because one of the blades is off of it. Sorry about that. This is part 2 of lesson 5, or really just part B. And I'm showing you the endpoint methods of calculating endpoint. So, and this type of question, you'll know one of the endpoints, and you'll also know the midpoint. Okay, method A is the formula. And remember, you have to know this formula. It is x1 plus x2 over 2. Well, actually, it's the same thing as this, but the only difference is that you're going to be, it's equal to m, and you know m. That's the only difference, and you're going to leave part of this blank. And I will go over how to do that. And then method B is S-cut, which is really just shortcut. This is the shortcut, but this is the easiest way to do it, but you just have to remember these two things. First, you multiply the midpoint coordinates by 2, and then you subtract the 2 coordinates by the other 2 coordinates of the endpoint that you know. And that will give you the other endpoint that you need to know. Alright, method C is the rise over run. This one is might not always work because you might not always have graph paper, or if you're like given point like 1847 or something, like you don't have that on all the graph paper that you'll get. So this one's the most reliable, but it does take the most time. So you can just choose whichever one you want or really are able to do. So I'm going to come up with some points. So let's just say 1, 2, and then the other one, let's make it -5, or actually -4, 3. How about that? That seems easy enough. Alright, let's try out this first method A. Alright, method A. Alright, so we're going to plug in what we know. Oh, so actually I'm going to make this the midpoint. That's what that's going to be, because this is one of the endpoints, and we're trying to figure out the other endpoint. So I'm not sure if these coordinates will work for what we're doing, but we'll have to see, because I know geometry, but I don't know how certain coordinates will fit in and what it will make it equal off the top of my head. So, alright. So we know x1, that's just 1, plus x2. Well, that's not given. That's what we're trying to find. So we just put x. And then over 2. Then we do comma. And then y1, that is 2. Plus, well, we don't know the other y, so we put y. And then we do over 2. And then we say equals m, which is just -4, 3, but I'm just going to put m for now. So if you're taking notes, just copy that down, because I have to erase it now because there's not that much space. So then what you would do is you set it equal to m. So first we'll start with trying to find this x2, because these are 2 things we don't know, and they're separate variables, so you don't want to try to solve it all together, just separately. Okay, so x1 is 1, we said that, and then we don't know x, and then over 2, and that equals, so we only will put the -4 because that's the x coordinate. So don't put the 3 yet, because that wouldn't even work. When we're trying to solve for this, then you put the 3. So when we're trying to get rid of a rotten fraction, you have to multiply by what the denominator is, the bottom number. So that's 2, 2. So that makes the 2 go away, and then it's just 1 1 plus x equals, okay, so we know that will make it -8. Okay, and then we subtract 1, that's what we do. And then we find out that x equals -9. There. Now I have to erase it again. So that's what you do for that part. So far we know what the x is. Now, the y. So y1 is 2, and we don't know y2, so we'll just put y for that variable. And then over 2, and this time it equals 3 because that's what we have. All right, and then trying to get rid of the fraction, multiply by the denominator, which is again 2. And then we have 2 plus y equals 6. So you would subtract the 2, but we already know that this will be 4. I mean, it already looks like a 4 because that's the way the y went, but that's what it is. Y equals 4. So there we go. That's actually just what the answer is. You put those two coordinates together, and the coordinates of the endpoint that we're trying to find is -9, 4. So that took kind of a long time to do, but it's the one that will always work no matter what way there is. So now method B, shortcut. So first we just write down the midpoint. That's all we need to do first. -4, 3. Then you subtract, or sorry, that's not what you do yet. Then you multiply the coordinates by 2. So you just multiply them both by 2. So we already remembered from over to this side that that's -8, and then this is 6. So there you go. So you can find the same numbers either way that you do it. Like, you'll find out when you solve it, you'll get the same numbers, like the same 6 and then the same -8 we had before I erased it. And then we subtract the endpoint. So the endpoint that we know is 1, 2. So -1, -2. Now with the rules of the subtraction signs and negative signs, if this was a -2, when you're trying to subtract it, you would actually add it. But that's not what it is, so you don't have to worry about it this time. And then you get -9, 4. That is the same thing that we got on both sides. And it was much quicker this way. That's why it's a shortcut. And you don't really have to know a formula. You just have to remember these two things. Rise over run might be easier than this one for some people, if you remember what that is. So if you don't, then just watch this. So first, what you need to do is plot the points. So we have 1, 2, and then -4, 3. So if this is the midpoint and that is one of the endpoints, we know that it has to be over here. So this is the case when this one might not always work because, look, the graph ends right there. But I will still show you how to do it. So what we do, so remember, when there's a midpoint, it means that the two sides on the segment are going to be equal. That's what we know. That's what a midpoint does. So here's how you do it. First, we connect the lines here, and rise over run, we just rise 1, and we go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we went up 1 and over 5. So if we know that both sides are equal, then we do the exact same thing again. So now we go up 1 again. So we would be on this 4 area, and then we go over 1. Now we're at -5, 2. Now we're at -6, 3. Now we're at -7, 4. We're at -8, 5. We're at -9. So now we're at the coordinates right here. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then -9, 9, -4. We got the same thing. This was not a very good example. That's what I said at the beginning. I don't know. I didn't know that using these coordinates would make it go off the graph. But So that one might seem easy to you. So you just have to remember that you have to do this. You find out how much it is from the 2 points that you know, and then you do the same thing up until the next point that you get. All right, that's it. And we have done. Done. That's it. Sorry. Sorry about the ceiling fan thing at the beginning, but I hope you liked the videos for this unit, and yeah, thank you. I will put out a review for standards 1.3 to 1.